Yo! Hey, how's it going? Hi, Fragile Heart. Much love. Pure Guidance. G, how's it going? Just getting started on a live. Just gonna wait for people to join in. Hey, Knock 90, how's it going? Gonna be talking about shedding the ego. So I done a reel the other day about destruction of the ego. I talk a lot about the ego, but it was cool to do a live on it today. So Organically Meta, how's it going? Kelly Venetia, much love. Gonna be talking about shedding the ego today. Just getting started, so I'm just gonna wait for people to join in. Just before I start channeling my messages, I usually do a bit of breath work, so while people are joining in. I do my own Kambo breath work, full exhalation out. And then focusing on the full inhalation in. Connects me to my 8th chakra, outside of the body, outside of my limited mind. A38C, how's it going? Breath is spirit, espiritus. Let's see who's going to join us. How's it going? 38C, Joshua, much love. Thank you very much for joining in. Hey, Ravi. So, shedding the ego. See who's else going to join us first. Breath retention. Bring the energy in. The life force energy. Embrace it. Ed 1, how's it going? So, shedding the ego. Let's get into it. Well, what is ego? Most people catch these lives afterwards. So if you're watching this afterwards, thank you very much for joining in. If you're watching it now, thank you very much for joining in. Most people come and go. I can often get up to about 150 people within like a half an hour, 1 hour live. And actually only about 10 people actually remain. Maybe 20. People have a very short attention span. But, you know, the messages get out to the right people, which is what it's all about. I don't look after that. The divine does. Hey, Hope Lies. Hey, Nithin. So everything is divine timing, divine nature. The right people watch the right things and hear the right messages at the right time. Not necessarily mine, but maybe other people. Rob Spring, how's it going? Rube Spring. OHM Vapor, how's it going? Much love. Thank you very much for joining in. So I'm just going to be talking about shedding the ego. So firstly, what is ego? Well, ego is a matter of perception. What is your perception of what ego is? So John calls that synchronicity. Absolutely, synchronicity. Well, it's all synchronicity, right? The universal flow. Everything is in synchronicity. So yeah, the right people turn at the right time. The right people will be here at the right moment, or watch this at the right moment when it comes a time, maybe further down the line. So the right messages make it to the right people. The divine is very, very smart. The ego is located in your identity, your personality. So it's your mind. Your mind creates the ego. The ego is identity. So limited self. Because we come into this life, we start to think we're this. We think we're the person we are living in. So the mind is within the body, the consciousness is within the body, and it identifies with the body. And it identifies then with the brain consciousness. The brain is a limiter of consciousness. Now, pure consciousness is beyond the brain consciousness, but the brain runs on patterns. Patterns, habitual patterns. Hey, C-Bones. How's it going, brother? Hey, Kavi. Hey, Vish. Hey, Melis Wealthy. The self and the I must be separated. Absolutely, absolutely. So this actually comes to me a lot. When I say comes to me, it's divine guidance, divine inspiration. So the self. Thank you, fantastic, C-Bones, my friend. Much love, my friend. So yes, the self and the I must be separated. So we have a higher self and, I suppose the limited self. You can label it in different ways. I like to think of it as there's the me and then there's the I. So there's the me, which becomes like the personality, the identity, which I built over time. Obviously before I went into the profound enlightenment experience that I often speak about in my lives, just over a year and a half ago. I had to shed the ego. The ego had to get destroyed. The ego was not only destroyed from external sources, but I also had to destroy myself, in a sense. So, yes, we instead of I. Yes, it's more universal consciousness, absolutely. The separation comes from the me, the identity, right? So I'll come back to your comments, guys. Thank you very much for your comments. So I usually just scroll up a little bit so I don't see the comments whilst I'm channeling my messages through. So the me and the I. So the me is like, I would label like the me as a limited self. The I is the pure consciousness. The I is because whatever follows I is the me. So I am, then whatever follows that creates the me. But the I itself is the pure consciousness. All in the eye of the beholder, right? The all-seeing eye. So the I is before the thought of the me. Or the self as well. We call ourselves the self. But there's a higher self and there's a lower self. But you can use whatever labels you like. But I use lower self to identify the ego and higher self to identify the soul and the immortal mind and the immortal soul. So we have an immortal self, the higher self, which is beyond the physical realm. So that I is the unlimited I, with unlimited potential. Now the me, which we often identify with in life, as we build identity, we build personality, we start to believe this is me, this is me. And we build this personality and it's reinforced not only by yourself, but also by the external environment, by people. So, your family creates an identity for you. Your friends create an identity for you. So there's a you, there's an identity, which people then identify with, It's not that you aren't that, you are that, but much more. So for example, you know, yes, I can identify with the me, the personality and the identity which I live through this vessel, which has many different sides to it. You know, there's a stock market trader side, you know, the Cam Dadwa in the financial world and the trading framework business that I run. There's a character, there's an identity there. You know, there's an identity on the mind of matter. This is a different identity. And this is why I actually call myself Kambo here. In my business, which I've been running for over 20 years, I'm known as Cam Dadwa. But I wanted to get away from that identity. So this is why my identity Kambo is actually from my younger years. And it's something that was labeled, it was given to me actually as in my martial arts. So I've been a martial artist since I was 7 years old. So Kambo, I took that identity for the mind of matter because it wasn't identifying with the Cam Dadwa that everybody else thinks I am. So I actually label myself something else after enlightenment because I'm no longer the same person, because the old me died. So, you know, I spoke about this in my last live. You know, there's a crucifixion. There's a destruction of the ego. There's a destruction of the me who I thought I was. And this happens for many. It's a hero's journey, right? The hero's journey is to go through this creation of oneself, almost like a false identity. And then the destruction of that false identity, and then emerges the true self. And I do believe it takes time for that to happen. You know, the timeline can be different for many people, but someone could spend 25 years, 30 years of their life building who they think they want to be and who they want to become. And then that needs to be destroyed to some extent, and we call it shedding the ego. So we got to shed layers, like very much like an onion, right? An onion has many layers. And it's not so much about figuring out who you are, it's about figuring out who you are not. Because you start to take on this personality, this identity. This is me, this is me, this is me. You know? So, you know, I have identity as a father, I have an identity as a husband, I have an identity as a son, right, as well. So these identities, these are down to the me, right? So they are part of the what I would call the limited identity. But without a doubt, in the physical realm, I'm going to play that character. Okay, I'm still going to be a father, but I can be a better father, of course. I'm still going to be a husband, I can be a better husband if I align with my higher self. Still be a son, but be the best son I can be. Be the best husband I can be. Be the best father I can be. You know? So be the best coach and mentor I can be. So identity, ego, we build over time. But it will be tested. So we get tested and we get frustrated. We can sometimes get angry when our ego gets tested. When things get taken away from us. You know, when things don't go our way, the ego's way. Because, you know, the divine plan is much greater. You know, your soul couldn't care about the petty problems that the identity has. Because it's way beyond that. So your higher self is way beyond the petty problems associated with the me. So we get tested. So we get tested to see how much faith we have. Faith in the higher power, in the higher self, in God, the divine. And through that, we have to drop off parts of our old self, which we believed at one point was us, or part of us, and who you should have been. You may have even worked towards it. But shedding the ego is all about that. Finding out who you are not. So as I said, a lot of people are asking, who am I? That's a great question. Who am I? But it's not so much of who you are, because you are you. It's just there's so many layers on top of the I that have been built that need to be shedded. What's left at the end of it is who you are. So you don't need to find yourself. You don't need to figure out, who am I? What we need to figure out is who you are not. I need to figure out who I am not. If I keep figuring out who I am not, and you keep figuring out who you are not, you will be left with who you are, who you truly are. Now this takes time, this takes experiences, this takes life experiences. It's a journey. It's a fantastic journey. Because every time you shed a layer, there's another layer. And then you shed that layer, there's another layer. You shed that layer, there's another layer. So you say, well, that wasn't me. Okay, this is left. Okay, well, that wasn't me either. Now this is left. Well, that wasn't me either. Now this is left. That wasn't me either. Now this is left. What's left is a purer identity, a more truer self, the higher self. So it's only the limited self that's dying. The part of you that needs to be destroyed. But people don't like it because they get attached. They get attached. Wait a minute, that's me. That's my identity. That's what I built. That's what I thought I was. But the divine teaches you, no, you're much more than that. But it teaches you through destroying your old limited self, which you thought you were. So your unlimited potential is born through the destruction of the limited self, the ego. So we begin to identify with this character we build, this personality we build, and people reinforce and you reinforce. And when it gets hurt, when it gets tested, we're like, what's going on? And this is why many people struggle on a spiritual journey and spiritual development and self-development. Because it's a constant test of the ego. But that's the path. And if you're not up for it, you don't walk the path. And I'm sure if you wasn't meant for the path, you wouldn't be on it in the first place. Because it's all divinely timed and divinely guided anyway. So, you know, when you get beyond the I, when you get beyond the me, the true I is left, right? The true you, the true self. So people always ask, who am I? Well, it's not the me. It's not who you think you are. Okay, it depends obviously where you are right now. Obviously, many of you are on the path and you're discovering who you are, and I'm sure many of you are at least getting to the point of who you are. But I'd be the first one to say, look, there's always more. You know, it doesn't stop. This is why I've done a podcast called Beyond Enlightenment, because enlightenment is very, very profound. You leave the physical realm. You're out of this body. You're out of this mind. There's no you left. So that's the true knowing, you know, when you go into pure enlightenment. But as I said, I had to detach completely from everyone and everything for weeks to get to that point. The sweet spot for me was 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, the old self was gone. Then I transcended. Nothing remained of the old self, the Kamdadwa that I thought I was. Nothing remained. Now, there's, from the outside perspective, people still see, okay, they still see the same me to some extent, but I've even changed. Like physically, I've changed. Like when I went into enlightenment and came out of it, I was actually quite a bit more overweight. And I actually made a public announcement on the Mind of Matter page, because I started it after enlightenment, and I said, look, watch me transform. Enlightenment is going to change me not only inside, it's going to change me outside. And I lost like 40 pounds. 20 kilograms in weight. Even with a physical disability, I continued to work out. I started to get in better shape. I started to look younger. Benjamin Button syndrome. Because when you truly find out who you truly are, there's no limits. There's no limits. You get beyond your limits. So even with my ego being tested, with disability and stuff like that, I'm beyond that. It doesn't hold me back. So I've got in better shape whilst being disabled than I did before that. So it's a test of the ego. Oh, so my light's gone off. So, you know, I'm not the mind, I'm not the body is my mantra. I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. What's left? If you're not the mind, you're not the body, what's left? If you're not your brain consciousness and you're not your body, what's left? If you're not the identity and the personality, what's left? It's all about what's left at the end of it. So you shed those layers. You shed all of the limited identity, the limited self. Even though it may be great from a worldly perspective, from a higher self perspective, to gain a heavenly mind, you can't have a worldly attached mind. It's way beyond that. To have a heavenly mind, you got to get beyond this. You know, this is me. This ain't the me. You know, my book is called Live the Dream. I'm the dreamer of the dream. If this is the dream, just like I have a dream at night time, I'm not the person in the dream. I'm the person asleep on the bed having the dream. So my soul's having the dream. This person is in the dream. So this isn't me. This isn't the real me. The real me is non-physical. The real me is non-local. Even your mind. Like people think the mind is their brain. Your mind is not the brain. The brain is a consciousness filter, as I say in my book. The brain filters consciousness. The brain is just a cauliflower-shaped organ in the head. It's a consciousness receiver. Just like a television receives a broadcast. It receives a broadcasting signal. Just like your mobile phone is receiving a signal. Wi-Fi or 4G or 5G. And you're seeing me on that side on your screen. Am I in your phone? No. I'm here. But am I here? No. Because I'm not this. It's a bit of a mind boggler, right? So, look, the television can break. The mobile phone can break. But the broadcasting signal is always there. You can get a new phone and pick up the same Wi-Fi signal. You can get a new TV and pick up the same television station. Just like your body can pick up consciousness again from your soul. So the soul is eternal. There's an eternal mind connected to your eternal soul. That is of a pure consciousness, not of a limited consciousness. The brain limits your consciousness. But with the right amount of work, you get beyond brain consciousness. You get out of body consciousness. You get beyond the body and the limited brain consciousness. Connect with pure consciousness. Unlimited potential. The infinite. You cannot comprehend the infinite with a finite mind. You've got to get beyond what's finite, what's physical, what's limited. The ego, the personality, the identity we start to believe we are is of a limited nature. We're unlimited beings. We have unlimited potential. There's a life force energy flowing through us. The breath, it's all around us, the empty space around us, full of unlimited potential. And yet, human beings start to believe, I am me. I am this person. I've got a name. I am this body. I work with my brain. But you're so much more than that. So much more than that. But if you keep identifying with, that's me and that's it, how are you going to know your true self? You've got to shed those layers. So life tests you because it destroys your ego. Your ego is meant to be destroyed, so you can see what's left. Because your ego is attached to the limited self, the me. Oh, they hurt me. They said this to me. This person is judging me. It's all limited thinking. We have got many people, judgmental people in this world. It's just a given. You're going to get people judging you. That's their problem. Don't make it yours. You know, people come on here and judge me all the time. People try to figure me out. You'll never figure me out. I don't understand myself. You know, so nobody else has got a chance in hell figuring me out. Only God, the divine, knows what's happening with me. And that's all that matters. Walk with the divine, walk with the gods. Leave it in their hands. Get your limited self out of the way. You know, that's what I do. I just flow with the universal flow, the Tao. I came into this world without a business plan. I'm going to leave without a business plan. So just flow with it. Life is a dance. Life has a flow. Ride the waves. Dance with it. Every day, dance with it. It's a dance. Just got to flow with it, dance with it. Let go of that limited self. The limited self is the only thing that creates fear and doubt and limits in your mind. You can transcend your limits. You can transcend all doubt, all fear by disassociating with the limited self, the me, the identity. The identity with the me holds you back. I look at myself here speaking. I know I'm not that person. I know I'm much more. So do yourself a favor when you look at yourself in the mirror. Say to yourself, I'm not the mind, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. Remind yourself. Remember who the fuck you are. You're so much more. So much more. Now the gods and the divine, I call them the gods because God consciousness realms. That's where the gods connect. Devasha, they call it. Devasha. The home of the gods. Heaven. So there's a place in heaven where the God consciousness resides. All the transcended, ascended masters and their souls, their spirits. You know, you can channel that consciousness when you get out of your limited consciousness mind. Anyone can, everyone can. You know, I spoke about it in my last live. I channel Buddha consciousness, Christ consciousness, Shiva consciousness, Waheguru consciousness. It's all there. You know, you may connect with something else, but there's without a doubt higher consciousness available to everyone. You know, people talk about downloads. Well, that's where it comes from. It doesn't come from here. It doesn't come from in this reality. It's non-local. So as I said, the broadcasting signal is non-local. The dreamer of the dream is non-local. It's in a completely different dimension. Doesn't exist in this reality. This is the dream world. This is the illusion. As my book speaks about this, right? This is the dream consciousness. Just like you have a dream at night time, you think you're in the dream and you're enjoying your dream, and then all of a sudden you wake up and say, oh, it was just a dream. It's the same thing that happens at the end of this life. You wake up and say, oh, fuck, it was just a dream. It was just a dream. And there I was, identifying with that person, that identity. Taking it all so seriously. But that's the journey. So, the message today is shed those layers. Like a snake sheds its old skin, drops it off. Anything that isn't serving you, throw it away. Like I had to let go of a lot of... There's habits. We are habitual beings. So you got to ask yourself what habits you have that serve you and what habits you have that don't serve you. It's all about serving yourself. Loving yourself and serving yourself in the best way possible. There are habits that will destroy you. There are habits that will create you. So, I used to have bad habits, like smoking cigarettes. I smoked cigarettes for over 15 years. I stopped. Okay, just like that. Alcohol, gave it up. Don't drink. Don't touch alcohol. Smoking weed. Don't smoke joints. Cocaine. I used to do cocaine. Nonsense. I've tried a lot. Mushrooms, trips, ecstasy. But listen, are those habits going to serve me? No. There's a lot of people that rely on psychedelics and even DMT. I've smoked DMT, smoked changa, and I've had a DMT trip, but it isn't enlightenment. It's profound, especially DMT. Smoking DMT is profound. You will go into another dimension, but it's not enlightenment. Enlightenment is on a fucking different level. No substance involved. Just pure consciousness and God. So, yes. They may assist some people. Mushrooms and a big thing, psychedelics. And DMT, of course. If you're called towards it, ayahuasca may be a part of your journey. I've been through that. I've been there, done it, got the t-shirt. Fuck that shit. Don't need it anymore. God is all I need. The divine is all I need. I've had all the trips in the world you could possibly think of. Had the DMT experiences, had the Chango experiences, ayahuasca. Anyway, those bad habits don't serve me. So, the bad habits stop. Which habits serve me? Well, the habits that I do every day now. My daily habits. Kambo's daily habits. A walk in nature. Get up early, go for a walk in nature first thing in the morning for 60 minutes to 90 minutes. Dynamic meditation, witness and observe the beauty and the peace, the serenity in nature. Breath work. Connect with spirit, spiritus. It's another word for breath, to blow. So spirit in Latin is spiritus, which means to blow or to breathe. The ones that breathe. So breath is a life force energy. That's why without it, your physical vessel is dead. But you can't see it. Just like you can't see the empty space outside here. But the empty space here connects everything and everyone. Your breath gives you life. So you want to connect with the unseen. Connect with what you can't see. I've said it so many times before. Your breath and the empty space around you. The empty space around you isn't as empty as you think. There's an aura here. Everyone has an aura. It goes 3 to 4 feet wide outside the body and it creates a torus. An apple-shaped energy field. Biofield. You can activate that biofield. Consciousness doesn't only come into the brain, it comes into your biofield. So when you get beyond, okay, I'm the body, you get to, okay, well, I'm this biofield. A biofield made of energy and light. And that's your torus. That's your aura. That's your soul light spectrum. The 7 chakras in the body emanate an energy and light field that comes out. Now, physical eyes, human beings can't see it. But with an open third eye, you can see it and you can feel it. So I see it and I feel it when I go into the right state. Okay, but the energy field is here all the time. That's why I do Qigong, because I want to cleanse my aura by moving energy, any stagnant energy, not just in my chakras, but around my whole biofield. This is what I teach in my courses, right? Not just chakra clearing, but auric cleansing. You have an auric egg. There's an egg, okay? That's your, as I said, torus. Everyone has, and the more you activate your biofield, the wider it gets. So most human beings, it's only about 3 feet wide coming out of their body, 3 or 4 feet wide. You do the work, it'll go 8 to 10 feet wide. That's why most people who have an activated biofield and a high energy field, their light is activated more so. You will feel their presence as soon as you walk in the room. They'll have a strong presence, a strong character. Now, that's not ego. That's their soul. Because they don't even have to speak and you'll feel it. You'll feel it, even in silence. Right? That's because the energy field has been activated. It's wider. People come into my presence, they feel it. Some people feel it even through the computer screen or through the mobile phone. They feel the energy because it's activated. You know, your light's either switched off or it's switched on. There's only on and off. And most 99% of the world are walking around like zombies. Their light is switched off and they don't even know it, that it can be switched on. And I'm not talking about just having your mind switched on, I'm talking about the whole biofield. That's your soul's light spectrum. Your aura. You know, I spoke about in my last live, when the demons in the etheric field attach to you, when you're full of fear, because they use fear for food. The fear is in your biofield, not just here in your body. You feel sensations in your body, but it's in your biofield. And it creates food for the etheric demons. That's what they live on. They can't live without the fear. That's why there's so much mind control and fear-mongering in this world, because without it, the demons can't stay alive in the etheric field. That's their life force. Like our life force is breath, their life force is your fear. And the more fear and doubt you emanate into your biofield, the more they feed on it. And what that does in turn, it creates more fear and doubt, because they begin to then control your consciousness. They take over your thoughts, take over your mind. That's why a lot of people don't know why they can't control their minds, because they're not in control of it. They've got so much fear and doubt, they're being controlled by these entities attaching to their aura. Right? So there's a lot going on that the physical eyes can't see. This is why opening the third eye is so important. This is what I help people do on my courses, like my energy mastery course. It's all about opening your third eye and activating your biofield. If anybody's interested in that, the link's in the bio. Energy mastery, 10 hours of training and practicals and a 30-day plan. Okay, but I've got rituals, I've got habits that I have to do daily. The walk in nature, connect with nature. Music, love, nature, breath, those 4 things, connect with those. You'll be on your way, but you got to do it consistently. Like, if you're not consistent, you're non-existent. So at least the higher self in that sense. The lower self is going to be there, but you want to be existing here in alignment with the higher self. You got to show up in congruence with the higher self every day. You can't show up with your lower shitty self every day, doing what your lower shitty self does, smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol, taking drugs. That's all lower consciousness stuff, lower vibrational stuff. You want to be of a higher consciousness, you got to vibrate higher. You can't be doing shit that's going to lower your consciousness and make you vibe low. So, with higher consciousness activation, it takes work. Your old habits got to go. The new habits have got to come in. Breath work, meditation, qigong for me. Cold shower or an ice bath. I tend to do a cold shower because it's more hassle to buy so much ice all the time. So a cold shower is always there. Okay, hot shower followed by a cold shower every day. Okay, quite often I do it at least twice. Okay, so, but at least once. Cold therapy is so powerful that if anybody hasn't read Wim Hof's book or done Wim Hof's course, I have, and I've been on Wim Hof training course. And actually some of my breath work, the Kambo breath work that I've done at the beginning is inspired by Wim Hof stuff. Wim Hof's breath work is similar because it's through the mouth and it's very energizing, and it also involves breath retention as well. But I've got my own way of doing it. So the Kambo breath work is a little Wim Hof inspired in that sense, but it is my own unique way of doing it. And I've turned it into a framework, a 4-step framework. Again, the Kambo breathwork framework, if anyone's new to it, the link is in the bio. It's completely free 8-module course. You can get on themindofmatter.com. But do it. Feel the power of it. Feel how it connects you to your higher consciousness. Because there's a whole science to that. There's a whole strategy to that. I explain it on the 8-module courses. As I said, it's free. But I explain how it takes you not only through the process of cleansing your 7 chakras, it connects you to the 8th chakra, which is outside of the body. And I spoke about this in my last live, that during enlightenment, I discovered there was 14 chakras. 7 are outside of the body, 7 are inside the body. And each one is a different dimension. So 8th chakra connects you to the divine consciousness. That's the connection point. And then the 9th chakra, Akashic records, divine wisdom. 10th chakra, God consciousness realms. Ascended masters, their consciousness exists there. Jesus, Buddha, Shiva, the Sikh gurus. Like for me, that's the ones I connect with because they're the ones I identify with. You might identify with others. And then 11th chakra, the state of nirvana, bliss. It's pure bliss. That dimension is just pure bliss. 12, heaven. That is the point where enlightenment, nirvana, is experienced. You go beyond nirvana towards pure love. That's heaven. Okay, because love is all there is in the end. Because we are love. We are love expressed into many different points and perspectives, into many different hearts. So there's only really one love. That's why on every post I put out, I always write one love. And Bob Marley was famous for making that message famous. There's a whole song on it, One Love, right? So one love. The reason I put it on every post is because it's the message of one love. There's only one love. It's just separated into billions of hearts. And we're supposed to reconnect it. That's why selfless service and helping one another is the most important thing. That's why I do this. That's why the Mind of Matter exists. This is why I come on here and take my time away from the limited self-ego. Because the limited self-ego would think, okay, well, that's my time. I don't want to give it to other people, but I give my time freely. Okay, yes, people pay me to do one-on-one sessions and pay me for coaching and training. Yes, but I do give. I do give a lot on this page because I give. You can't just receive, you got to give. Like, I can't just breathe out. I can't just breathe in. I've got to breathe out before I can breathe in. So this is why you got to give to receive. That's what love's all about. You can't receive love if you're not giving love. You know? This is why even in a relationship, if you're not giving love to the other person, are they going to give it you back? No. You got to give love to receive love. Yeah, I got to give love, express love. My way of expressing love is by connecting with people. Many people I don't know all around the world. On Instagram, Facebook, my social media, TikTok's picking up now as well. But I express my love, knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge and wisdom is my way to express love. That's my path, that's my journey, that's my passion. That's what was chosen for me. I didn't choose it for myself. So, you know, when you're in alignment with your higher self, you're just riding the flow. What was already paved for you. That way it's effortless. The ego tries to create itself. And that's why it's always a struggle. When you're rolling with your higher self, it's effortless. Just as effortless as being born and dying. There's no business plan involved. There's no you involved. You're just a vessel and you flow with it and let it flow through you. That's what I do here. Like when I turn up and I talk, I know I'm talking about shedding the ego. Do I know what I'm going to say? No. I just turn up, channel whatever needs to come out and then express it, speak it out. But just to recap, shedding the ego is all about taking the layers off. Your soul already knows who you are. Your higher self already exists. Your soul already exists. Your true self already exists. You don't need to find it. It's already there. All you need to do is take away what you are not. Figure out who you are not. What will remain is who you are. That's how you truly find yourself. Much love. Thank you very much. Let's have a look at the comments. I cannot disagree if it sounds weird, lol. OHM Vapor. We instead of I already had a look at that one. Yeah. This is all about we. We're all one. One love, right? One love. Yes. OHM Vapor. This is very Jungian, which is Nietzsche, which is Upanishad. Circles. Everything is a circle. You know, circle is a very, very, very profound shape. Because the circle is the only shape. The circle represents the infinite, the circle. And it represents life. It's the only shape with no sides. It's the only shape with no sides. Because it's complete. And it's eternal. It is a representation of the infinite. Untie the knots. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Untie the knots. You know, it's like a snake sheds its skin, right? Shed your old skin. Shed old skin which doesn't serve you. Take off the layers which do not serve you. What's left? Okay, you'll probably find something else that's not serving you. Take that off too. What else isn't serving you? Take that off too. What's left? You're just undressing your higher self. It already exists. You're undressing your true self. You're just taking off all the nonsense layers. All the bad habits that don't serve you. All the negative, not only habits in terms of things you do, but also habits in the way you think. Like even fear is a habit. We reinforce fear. Doubt is a habit. We reinforce doubts. All limitations are habits. We're habitual beings. We create habits and then it goes on autopilot. But the more you mentally rehearse fear and a fearful thinking mindset, the more you rehearse doubt and a doubtful mind, the more you get into alignment with it, the more natural it becomes, and then your unconscious, your subconscious just keeps playing that pattern off, even if you're not consciously choosing to. So we have to break those patterns through conscious effort initially. All right. How's it going, Steve? Yes, the breath work that I do, and you do, of course, Kambo breath work, releases natural DMT. You know, this is why, as I've said, I've smoked DMT, Changa, which is also DMT, but it's not as powerful as natural DMT in small doses with a pure consciousness. I've had profound experiences, but everyone gets what they're supposed to from even ayahuasca, any form of DMT, but it's an overload of DMT, which takes you to another dimension, or multiple dimensions, but then you've got to figure out what's true and what's not true from even what you experience there, which a lot of people tend to struggle with, because a lot of what they're shown is actually only for them to transcend. It's more of a display of who they are not a lot of the time. But I got what I needed to get. Hey, Be Free, much love. Everyone, thank you very much for joining in. Okay, I think I've taken most of the comments there. I'm going to shut off today. That was my message for today. I've done my job. Thank you, Divine. Much love.